and I plan to work very closely with him and with all the other key agencies, from NASA to the EPA to NSF, to launch a new era of science education here in our country. But the challenge of getting more young people into science is not something we can successfully implement just from Washington. That falls on you and your colleagues in classrooms all around the country. You need to challenge yourselves and each other to move the curriculum beyond dinosaurs and volcanoes. I know that many of you I know that many of you already have, but we need to take the best ideas to scale in tough inner-city districts like this one, as well as rural areas that cannot find enough qualified teachers for every subject. You need to make inquiry-based science relevant to students, stimulate their curiosity, and connect it with their lives. Together, we need to change the national dialogue about science to prepare our students to be honestly critical and technically competent. Science is all about questioning assumptions, testing theories, and analyzing facts. These are basic skills that prepare our students not just for the lab, but as you know so well, also for life. We're doing our students a disservice if we don't teach them how to ask tough and challenging questions. In Chicago, we began one of the most comprehensive science initiatives in the country, upgrading curriculum, training teachers, and expanding programs. We must do that everywhere, and I welcome your ideas and your input as to how we can best get that done. Above all, I just want to thank you for your extraordinary commitment to education and to our children. We don't say thank you nearly enough to the men and women who do the hard work every single day of teaching our children. So on behalf of the President and his wife, Michelle, as well as the Vice President and his wife, Jill, who, as you may know, continues to teach every single day now, I want to say thank you for all that you do. Our country depends on you, and our future depends on you. As I mentioned earlier, you probably want to know how much of the $100 billion will be going into science. I can't put one simple hard number on it, but I will guarantee you it will be billions. We can promise you that many teaching jobs will be saved due to stimulus dollars, and many of those will be in science labs all around the country. I can promise you that much of that money will help modernize those science labs, although those decisions will be made at the local and district level. There's also a pot of $650 million for education technology grants. I'm confident that dollars from other funding streams, Title I, and special education and school improvement funds that collectively make about $25 billion will find their ways into science classrooms. Lastly, there's the $5 billion Race to the Top fund, which will award the school districts doing the most to advance reforms, and that includes science education. So the money supply is there, and frankly, at an absolutely historic level. Now we need to drive the demand. We need to get our students and parents engaged and make our case forcefully that science education is critical to America's future. We have the leadership in the White House, we have the support on Capitol Hill, and now we have the funding. And now we need you, your ideas, your energy, and your leadership to build on the great tradition of inquiry, research, and theory that produced Edison and Einstein, and create a new generation of scientists that will make our world healthier and smarter. We need you to work with your governors and your superintendents to identify science programs for this stimulus money. We need, above all else, to renew our national commitment to education. America's economic security tomorrow is directly tied to the quality of education that we can provide today. This is our task, this is our challenge, this is our collective historic opportunity, and it's our time to get it done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. We'll now invite questions from the floor, but I'd like to remind you to please keep your statement in the form of a brief question related to the topic of Mr. Duncan's speech. Let's start over here with this mic.
I'll take other questions. That's okay. That's fine.
Good morning. First of all, on behalf of all the science educators in the room, I'd like to thank the Obama administration for your passion for public education. We greatly appreciate it. In the past few years, the heavy emphasis on mathematics and reading has caused schools to cut back or even eliminate sometimes science being taught in the elementary grades. And I'm wondering what the Obama administration is thinking about in terms of bringing science back in the elementary grades as part of the core curriculum area. So all kids can have a full and rich science education.
Yeah. It's a great question, and it pertains not just to science, but more broadly. And I worry a lot about the narrowing of the curriculum generally. And so whether it's science, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's PE, I think there are many areas where we are starting to do less and less. And that doesn't set our students up for success long term. So I think we have to think much more broadly about that. One of the challenges I've talked a lot about is the lack of time. And we need more time with our students and being much more creative about lengthening the day and lengthening the week and lengthening the year. And often I go out and talk to students. That's not the line that gets the applause. I get booed at that one. But I think when we look, again, if we're trying to be honest with our students and think about them being competitive with children in India and China, if they're going to school 25, 30% more time, they're going to outcompete us. It's like, I use too many sports analogies, but if one basketball team was practicing on Saturdays and one team was practicing 3 days a week, not doing as much, they're going to fall behind. And so I think we have to think more broadly about how we do a much better job, not just exposing all of our young students to science, but to arts, but to music, to PE, and really giving them a well-rounded education so they can figure out what their passion is going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go over here to this mic.
Good morning, Mr. Duncan. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and our state is currently moving forward with revisions to standards, as I'm sure many states across the country are. I'm personally quite excited about the work NSTA is doing to help us further define and clarify the standards and look at the most important of the key ideas we want to teach and have our children learn. My question of you is, if you could further define for me the administration's thinking about national standards, the role they play, and how they might inform our work in the states and our particular districts.
It's a great question. I appreciate you bringing it up. And I think this, to me, is just simply a start of an ongoing conversation, dialogue of NSTA. And I think the idea of 50 states doing their own things and creating a set of standards, a set of tests, and a set of benchmarks, and a set of assessments in isolation really doesn't make much sense. And I thought that might be a controversial statement. Maybe it's not. But I mean, you guys get it. You live it. And what I think we've seen under No Child Left Behind, because 50 states have done their own thing and because of political pressure, there's been what I call a race to the bottom. There's been a dumbing down of standards for political reasons. And I think, again, the idea of having, I go beyond national standards, I think they've got to be internationally benchmarked. Again, our competition isn't just our country, it's much more broadly. So we need, I think, as I said earlier, common, college-ready, career-ready, high standards, internationally benchmarked. I think we can get the best ideas from around the country, come together behind them. We have a set of states, a set of governors, a set of state school chiefs that I'm working very, very closely with who are willing to break through on this. I think it will save school districts and states tens of millions of dollars, probably billions of dollars around the country. I think we'll come out with a much better product. And I think at the end of the day, we'll be telling our children the truth. And what I'm convinced is that for years now, we've been lying to children because standards have been dummied down. When children hear that they are meeting standards, when children and parents hear that, if I'm told I'm meeting standards, I think I'm on track to be successful. And I think in far too many states, meeting standards means you are at best, barely qualified to graduate from high school, and you are woefully unprepared to go to college. So I'm convinced we have been lying to children. We have been lying to children, and we are setting them up for long-term failure. That has to stop. I think we have to work collectively in very, very different ways. And again, rigorous, high standards, college-ready, career-ready, internationally benchmarked, that's the direction I think we have to go.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go over to this mic.
A statement and then a question. Coming from a state that has standards that we've combined with 3 other states, soon a 4th state, where we're giving this